Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome. It's Orange Bloods Live. I'm Jeff. He's Chad. Going to be with you for a little while. Hit some thumbs up buttons and subscription buttons and all the buttons that I'm starting to turn into Bad Bill Cosby. Hit the Jello pudding pop buttons and by all means, jump into the Specs chat and chat it up with us. Send us some super chats. We're talking Texas football as we do on a daily basis here on Orange Bloods Live. Chad, there's a couple of different things that we'll get into today. One is rumors, right? We put it on the thumbnail. We're going to talk about some of the things we talked about behind the scenes today. Some of it portal related, some of it high school football related. Some of it is just, I think, fascinating conjecture to a certain extent in terms of what do you do if you're Texas, when you're Texas, and how do you do all of that? Then there's the Chris Del Conte, town home thing from last night where there seems to be a little bit of finality on a few things. There will be a spring game.
Hey!
We're going to get one of them this year.
I do like a spring game.
There's a bunch of transfers that we can see.
Yeah, Sark and I disagree on this one, but I've always liked a spring game. I think it's a good idea. And in this season where it's the last time, reasonably speaking, that Arch Manning's going to be your quarterback, why not have some event in the spring where the fans get to see him throw it a little bit? That was my argument last year.
Let the people who maybe can't afford $400 for a family of four come out and be able to say they've seen Arch Manning in the flesh. Colin Simmons while they're at it. Hey, man, Steve Sarkisian while we're at it. Just throwing that out there. So that happened last night. Probably the biggest talking point conversation piece, although there were some really interesting things that I want to jump into. But the newsiest thing of the day is that they're not going to, and I think the word cancel is sloppy discussion. Because I think that's a straw man. Cancel the games, give up the home games against Ohio State and Michigan. Give them up forever, never play them. Or postpone them. Play those games at home against those teams when it makes more sense for all of the teams involved. Chris Del Conte had a different viewpoint. We're not going to cancel those games. We're not going to postpone those games. I kind of want a piece of them is what he said, which, pride is one of those 7 deadly.
Hang on.
What'd you do?
I swear I didn't do a thing. I watched you pop right off the screen. You said pride is one of those 7
I wasn't touching anything.
Boom. And then you were gone.
God, maybe Chris Del Conte is God or something. And he was like, how dare you tell me about the 7 deadlies, Jeff Ketchum? What if I do the 7 deadlies of YouTube and I just unclick your click?
But then again, you were gone, and just as quickly you pop right back in. It was really weird.
We've had this conversation before, Chad. There's just a part of me that just can't have it today. Texas is approaching this as if bravado matters. I will continue to look at this as if what is the smartest thing to do? Not in these discussions of, well, you're just saying there's no value. What if we beat Ohio State? It's like, okay, well, then you still have a very difficult SEC schedule that you will still need to navigate, which is one of the reasons why adding stuff to your plate probably shouldn't be on the agenda. If he wants to say it's about the money, then just say it. If it's about the money, just say it. But God, I was a little the thing, and look, I think this played well with fans. The whole, I kind of want a piece of Ohio State and Michigan. I want a piece of that ass. Do you want that more than the playoffs? Because if we could all agree that right now the committee is telling us that risk is not rewarded if you lose a third game, why would you? And I just say what it is. And I felt like a little bit of last night turned into, I'm Chris Del Conte with my orange blazer on, and I'm just going to be a little bit, one of our best posters on Orange Bloods had the audacity to say, you know what I love about Chris Del Conte is he never puffs his chest out. And it's like, well, wait a minute. What was that? What is literally saying, I want a piece of Ohio State? That is nothing if it's not chest puffing.
That's a little
And,
puffy.
by the way, is chest puffing by a guy that won't play the game.
Yeah, that is a little chest puffy. All right, Catch. So you said you don't want to get into it. You want to table that one for later and move on?
Well, I just don't know what else there is to say. Like, at some point, that's the conversation. Okay. They're going to do what they're going to do. And there's no convincing me that it's the smart play to make. And if I just, until Texas gets to, and look, it's so weird. They do so much stuff that you look at and you go, it's pretty diabolical planning. Then there's other stuff, and it just looks like they're saying YOLO. And I don't know why we can't be transparent and say we're not chicken shits. We're just trying to be smart. We played that game a year ago. We didn't cause a stink about it. We went on the road. When it happened, people said you won't get punished for playing a game like that. At the end of the year, we had 2 SEC losses, like a lot of teams that made it into the playoffs, except they didn't have to go on the road to Columbus. And in the end, losing by a single score against the defending national champions in their crib in the first week of the season played us no favors. So you know what? Until we see a system that's back towards rewarding that type of risk, we're not going to overextend ourselves. That sounds smart, but too many people make it sound like you're being a pussy. You afraid of Ohio State? Well, a little bit, yeah. Yes. Texas is 0-5 against Georgia and Ohio State combined in the last 2 seasons. I don't know. Maybe respect the challenge and the fear and the danger that comes with it. And it did cost your season last year. It did. Because what it meant was that when you had your one true off day of the season against Florida, you didn't really have a mulligan in your season. Everybody knew that when you went to Georgia, that's probably one they won't get. So there's one. You get a mulligan. But when you went to Columbus and Athens in the same season, you possibly rid yourselves of chance of a mulligan. And it's the same thing this year. And if they get to the end of the year and they're 9-3 and the saving grace is, well, we weren't afraid of Ohio State, put that on a banner. That is the most Aggie thing a Longhorn could say. Well, we didn't get the job done, but we did this instead. Oh, really? Nice job. I thought they hung banners for championships. I didn't know they hung them for non-championship reasons. I will file that note away.
If you guys want to jump in the super chat, feel free. We've already got one in from Amars, a $10 super chat. Catch, it says, yo, speaking of rumors, is the coaching staff set or potential for some movement?
I don't think there's going to be any movement. I haven't heard that there will be. My understanding is that, I think when Sark had the press conference on signing day, he came out. I think they tried to. Everybody's going to ask about Kyle Flood, and I think there was a Kyle Flood conversation about whether or not he needs to be the offensive line coach. I think Sark probably gave that some strong consideration. I don't think he's blind to what happened. And I think Sark privately will feel like he got burned by Kyle Flood. Kyle Flood, you told me this. You told me we would be okay. And we weren't. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, we all get fired. But I think the time for that was back in December. I'm not anticipating any other changes. I think what we see is what we've got. And I think Steve Sarkisian is confident with this staff. And I think at the end of the day, Kyle Flood's got more grace. He's going to get more grace from Sarkisian than most people will want to give him. They won a natty together. They've traveled from Tuscaloosa to Austin together. I don't think they're the closest of friends, but they've been through some stuff together. And I think that means a lot to Sark. And so beyond that, what else are we talking about? Is Johnny Nansen going to take a job and go someplace? I don't think he's leaving Austin. I'm just trying to run through my head. Where would you even look to make a change? And I just, jobs are taken too. So if you are going to fire somebody now, there's a pretty good chance they're not going to get a job. And that's not what coaches generally like to do. In fact, Sark gave everybody a heads up at the beginning, right when the season ended. He told guys, hey, there might be some changes. If you think there's a play, if I just think I think the people that were in danger knew they were in danger. And I think Sark gave them every opportunity to come out of the situations as well as they could. You know, what we're talking about is here. They could have just as easily have done that to PK. They could have waited till now, given the dagger to PK now that it's all done and over with, and still hired Will Muschamp. Like, you could have done that after all of this, after signing day. Oh, as much as I think it's wrong how the whole thing went down, I think Sark wanted to pay PK enough respect to give him an opportunity, should one arise, to be able to take a job. And I think he probably felt that about everybody. I think they're done. I think they're set. If I'm wrong, it won't be because we haven't talked about it, but it will be a little bit of a surprise for me.
Oscar, I see that super chat. We will get to it. Also, Catch, I want you to get a dirty little whisper ready for me. I'm going to tell the folks about Hayes City Store, but I want a dirty little whisper after that. This is not going to be a whisper. This is going to be a get your reservation in for Super Sunday. Hayes City Store is taking reservations. Make sure you get that done. They'll get a great table for you. Could be in the ice house. They've got indoor seating. They've got the seating out under those beautiful trees. And they have all this beautiful food just waiting on you. I believe that is the blackened pork chop on the left. They have blackened, they have grilled, and they have chicken fried pork chops, and all three are heavenly. And on the right is that brownie sundae that we debuted with them a few months ago. People have been enjoying that one for about a half a year now. If you haven't had it, get on out there. My daughter is a big fan of that. I'm not sure how much of that I had. I think I had 2 or 3 bites of that one, and then she handled the rest of it. It is good stuff out there at Hayes City Store. And again, get your reservation made. HayesCityStoreTX.com, or just scan the QR code and get on out there for the Super Bowl. No matter who you're rooting for, you are always going to enjoy it at Hayes City Store. All right, we do have a super chat that came in, but real quick before that, Catch, give me a dirty whisper.
Well, I think one thing we haven't talked enough about that I wrote about in our Truths and Lies section over at Orange Bloods earlier today is this notion that part of what Texas dealt with in the portal, and I think this really, I think they executed it really well in the portal. So here's the problem.
Okay.
When the word gets out that Texas is interested in a guy, it just changes everything. I think there were guys that Texas put the word out, or that Texas worked behind the scenes. Isaac Brown, kind of a good example of that, right? I don't know that a lot of people knew that was going on behind the scenes. But the moment he officially goes into the portal, it's impossible at that point to hide it. But we saw with the Michigan guys, tried to keep that on the down low. We saw a number of guys who came in for visits where the word about Texas's interest in them didn't even get out until either they were gone from town, or, I'm not completely sure that all of the guys that made visits have completely been reported on. So it is a unique thing that Texas would have guys in potentially for visits. And I'll give you a perfect example. There was a kid that came in from Wyoming named Wes King, an offensive lineman. They didn't offer him. They kind of played footsie with him a little bit. He ended up going someplace else. Had we not gotten wind that randomly Wes King had visited, I don't know that ever even gets reported, because he wasn't a frontline target. He never had an offer. How many more of those types of situations? The one thing that we know is on the offensive line side of things, the thing that I kept hearing was no need to panic. We got guys. We're aiming for bigger guys, but we're going to end up getting some viable solutions when it's all said and done. But those things weren't getting out. And it's one of the first times that I can remember at Texas where secrets were kind of kept. Guys were getting in on campus and it wasn't getting out. I think it's really unique that somehow they were able to convince a lot of the guys that were visiting to keep that stuff quiet. There was not, think about high school football recruiting visits, Chad. They've got $1 million cars out in front of the facility.
Yeah.
It's the most look at me gaudy day of the year, right? It's take pictures in front of Bentleys. It's Brian Kelly pretending he's got a Cajun accent and doing poses, and it's all that stuff, right? But with these portal guys, in and out and quiet, and not even Cam Coleman turned it into a spectacle, right? It was not days of photos of like, there's Cam Coleman on a roller coaster ride at it. You know what I mean? It was real business oriented, and Texas was doing that to protect their interests. And I think they successfully navigated it pretty well. Where it gets really interesting is now you're in recruiting and they've got to decide when to hold, when to go, and when to just disappear in high school football recruiting. Because if they evaluate a guy now and offer him now, and he's not one of the guys they may want to pay $1 million to, they are literally shooting themselves in the foot by letting the world know Texas thinks this guy's good enough to play for them. And if that guy has no other offers or only has offers from the likes of Baylor and SMU or Texas State, and then Texas comes in with an offer, that's usually when USC comes in with an offer. That's usually when Oklahoma might come in with an offer. That's usually when suddenly Ohio State and Georgia are kicking around the situation. Texas gets a commitment from Cameron Hall. I think he's a borderline national top 100 guy. But when you look at his offer list right now, it's pretty weak. He's a regional recruit. It's a lot of in-state schools and no out-of-state powerhouses. But by the time we get to the end of May, that kid's going to have offers from everybody.
Yeah, and the Texas offer might have gotten it all started.
It will have gotten it all started because he committed to Texas early, and then they may have to sit in a situation where they have to withstand money, financial offers, official visits. Cameron Hall may have looked at recruiting and thought to himself, Texas is as good as I could possibly hope for. And Texas may have said, we want you. We think you can be a difference maker, but they haven't really had NIL discussions yet. That kid may not have an idea of what kind of viability he has from a financial standpoint. I keep going back to the situations from last year, right? With Max Wright, where it's like, he wanted to go to Texas. And at the end of the year, SMU steps in, TCU steps in, and they've got some money on the table. Some money, not crazy money, but some money, more than Texas was willing to offer. And the whole recruitment changes. And I think one of the things that Texas is having to deal with right now is the rules of recruiting say to offer and be aggressive as soon as you can be. What does it mean and how does it look in a world where you're like, man, we kind of like this guy, but what we need to happen is we need to be able to go to him in December and hope that he's kind of stayed off the radar, off the grid a little bit, so that when we come in late, we offer him a scholarship, he takes it, and the rest of the nation doesn't have time to counter. It's a really kind of a diabolical way of recruiting, and I don't know how much it started, but it is something that absolutely is being talked about and considered behind the scenes. How much, and I'm not talking about 5-star guys. I'm talking about if you really have a guy that you think's pretty good and you want, like, it's complicated. It is not as the almost the worst thing you can do is shine light on a guy and say, son, we think you're really good. We're going to give you a scholarship offer. And then he goes and posts that on social media. And then all of the national recruiting services retweet it. And then the phone calls start. And suddenly this guy's never done an interview in his life. And now USC's calling, and Ohio State is calling, and Florida State is calling. And now there are official visits. And now he's hearing from schools that are saying, hey, just come in for a Saturday. We'll hand you a bag of cash. It's got 10 grand in it. No strings attached. Come on in, check it out. If you were 17 years old, would you turn down $10,000 and just show up on someone's campus and take a peekaboo?
I probably wouldn't turn that down.
And all of this in part because maybe you chose to go too soon. Maybe you chose to push the, do you want to commit? We're going to offer you a scholarship. I think it is the next stage of evolution for Texas is to figure out how do we handle this complicated new recruiting process that we're in, where there is a middle class tier of recruits that we probably won't land many of because they have too much value to come for free, but they're not good enough to play for 2 or 3 years, so we can't pay them right away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You almost have to know you're not going to get much out of this middle class. The worst thing you can do is to turn a poor person in that situation into a middle class person. The worst thing you can do is take a guy under the radar and build him up for someone else. It's kind of the opposite of what I tell Texas to do in recruiting, right? Let the projects go to the Texas Techs and the Baylors of the world. Let them prove that they can play and then take them after they've proven that they can play. In this instance, all these other schools can let Texas identify who they should be recruiting. Mm-hmm. And then as soon as Texas makes an offer, they can go, oh, this is one of these dudes that we'll like a lot that Texas won't want to pay money for. Excellent.
Texas needs to be careful about when they're Texas. A couple of super chats here. Catch, let's grab this one first. $5 from Wise Guy. With what UT did in the transfer portal / recruiting, besides LSU, is the rest of the SEC asking themselves, are we poor? I have seen that on OU boards.
Well, no, not the rest of the SEC.
There's some teams that spend.
I don't think A&M looks at itself in the mirror and says we're poor.
No, I wouldn't think so.
I mean, now look, Oklahoma is a little bit of a unique situation.
No.
They told us when they hired Jim Nagy, hey, we got a budget. We got to value shop and get it by on budgets. And they said we're not going to have enough money.
Right.
So what we got to do is hire a general manager who can identify talent that's efficient from a cost standpoint. That's why he's there.
And so far they've stuck to that.
They were not competing with Texas for the big names.
Right.
And I don't know that they got, they got the kid from Michigan, the linebacker, but other than that, it wasn't a lot of big name guys. But the rest of the SEC, I mean, Auburn doesn't view itself as poor. Auburn might view itself as a lot of things, but they don't look around and go, hey, do we have the money? They always have the money. So
Ole Miss doesn't look at themselves as poor, do they?
No. That's what you're essentially doing is talking shit about Aaron Burr's family at that point. You're asking to get invited into a duel. Because these SEC schools, Vanderbilt probably feels like, we got to pinch some pennies. But they stole a 5-star quarterback away from Georgia.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
So that is the most you got some balls on you kid move we've seen in a while, I think. So I don't know, man. I think OU has a real problem in that they're just used to operating in their entire history. They've never been worse than what in the world keeps happening. Chad and me just dropping left and right. OU's never lived in a world before joining the SEC. And to be fair, neither has Texas, but the two things are not the same thing. OU's never been in a conference where they're not one of the big two every day of their lives. When the Big 12 got started, it was Texas and Oklahoma. If you wanted to go back even to the old Big 8, it was Oklahoma and Nebraska. Their entire existence, they've been the big kid on the block, and then they've mostly competed against a bunch of kids that can't compete with them on the block. Now, look, Texas is no different. They've always been the big dog in their conference, and they've always been one of the two big dogs, and you could make a case they've always been the biggest dog. But of those two schools, which are better served and prepared to go into the SEC and compete the way that the SEC does, where not even Ole Miss blinks at the idea of, oh, it's going to take some cash? Why didn't you say so? OU isn't built for that. Texas, I think a little bit kicking and screaming to a certain extent is like they're doing it, even though I don't think they want to have to do it. But they're not going to get left back because they're not spending money. And I think the difference is Oklahoma is not like, well, we're just going to spend whatever it takes. Ultimately, Texas is not going to get left behind. Oklahoma does not have the facilities to say, well, no matter what, we don't get left behind. What they have to do, and I think with their actions, they're telling us we have to be smarter than everybody else. And I don't hate that. It's just a hell of a thing for the Oklahoma's the first super blue blood program to truly say we got to have a different approach in 2026 than everybody else that we compete against, because we can't do what everybody else does. And I think if you're an OU fan living with that, that's got to be a tough pill to swallow, because you're not used to being punked a little bit. Like, you never. OU is not the program that gets punked. Like, whatever you guys think I say about Oklahoma and the shit talking, and I don't really like the people in the state a lot of the times, but like, I respect the hell out of that football program. But what they have and who they're trying to be, it remains to be seen whether or not that approach can work in the SEC. And I think the one thing Texas has done, Chad, since joining the SEC that I give them a lot of credit for, they've embraced the SEC part of it, right? Like, they've embraced, okay, if this is how it is, this is how it is. And you know what? Screw you, Bama. We'll take Hollywood Smothers from you. Why? Because these are the rules.
Mm-hmm.
You're the one that told us these are the rules. So if these are the rules, we're going to play by those rules too. And I just don't know that Oklahoma's quite wired like that. Maybe Texas has a little more taste for the SEC combat blood, but we are now going into year 3. And Texas is legitimately, their peers right now, the guys they're duking it out with, are the Georgias of the world. Like, the conversation around Texas on a daily basis is that good enough to beat Ohio State or Georgia? That's how they're making their decisions. And I don't think that that's the zip code that Oklahoma lives in.
Wise guy, thank you for the super chat. There's another one. Easy answer on this one from Oscar, $4.99. Will there be a Texas baseball show this season? Also portal grade now that it's pretty much all said and done. First part, Oscar, yes. In fact, episode 1's already out there. I think it's called Coach Schloss is Back. Remember to check the video section at Orange Bloods Live, as well as the live section. The video section is where you're going to find the baseball show.
I retweeted it too, so you can just go to, if you're looking for it, go back a couple of days. That first episode came out on Monday.
Yeah, and it's going to be Mondays usually when the new episodes are going to hit with Coach Schloss. So, yes, it is going to happen again. And as far as a portal grade, I've said A, but not A+. I think that's where you are living, Catch. Yes,
I'm A+, not A+++, which
okay.
I just feel like when you take the offensive, it is, when you take away Lincoln getting shot and assassinated that night at the play, it's a pretty good show. Like, I understand what I'm saying when I say when you take the offensive line piece of the puzzle out of the equation, it's a hell of a qualifier. But what they did, I think, I think systematically, principle-wise, like what they did was unique to them across the country. They swung and missed a couple of times, but man, when they swung, they swung. Like, I love that. I love that. And Chad and I, we did this thing several times during the course at the end of the portal when Texas had Melvin Ciani committed. They hadn't yet gotten Lawrence Seymour. They had a couple of Sikorskis and Jonte Newmans of the world committed. And we were looking at the A&M list, and we were like, look, we don't know if any of those guys are actually really good or not. They weren't a year ago. But you know what they don't lack? Bodies. And, like, they're going to let those dudes fight it out. 2 of those guys will emerge out of 4 and be pretty good. We don't really care who. I don't even hate that, right? But we talked about, would you rather take the bodies and the sure thing, or would you rather swing for the fences? I think because Texas's goal is to beat Georgia and Ohio State, and they still, with all due respect to Indiana, feel like that's how if they're going to climb the mountaintop, I still think Texas looks at it and says, if we can't beat Georgia, we can't beat Ohio State, we can't do this. And I think Georgia's the Moby Dick of them all. They're 0-3 in the last, 15 months, 16 months against that team. And they've lost home, they've lost neutral, they've lost away, they've lost with titles on the line, they've lost with pride on the line, they've lost with their season on the line. We now know that that's what was at stake this year when they went to Athens with 2 losses under their belt. I think what they tried was really innovative. It is what I have always wanted Texas to try to do. I will not criticize them when they finally do the uber aggressive plotting and planning and tactical approach that I think has them with a portal class that may, man, if they play for a national championship, if they make a national semifinal run, it happened because of that portal window. It just did. Now, it doesn't happen with the portal window without everything else that they've done from a talent acquisition standpoint. But that was a program coming out of the season that needed a lot of help. And without it, they weren't going anywhere. They were going to miss the playoffs for a second year in a row. And I think it's an A+. Like, it's not 100. But man, again, who else nationwide put together a better class of skill guys? Hollywood Smothers, Raleigh Brown, Cam Coleman, and even Michael Masunis is one of the highest rated tight ends in the country on Pro Football Focus. But even if we just kept it to the 2 running backs and the wide receiver, who the hell did better than that? In fact, not even who did better than that, who signed one guy as good as any of those 3? There aren't that many schools that actually signed one guy as good as any of those 3. Texas got 3. And that doesn't even get into all of the other elements and areas and the Rasheem Biles and things, the Bo Mascos of the world and the improvement on special teams. They went out and got 3 absolute baller difference makers for that offense, things they didn't have. You know, it was a little bit like going into free agency in baseball. And it's like, well, what did you do? Oh, we signed Mike Trout in his prime. Oh, well, what else did you do? Well,
we told everybody that we signed Mike Trout in his prime.
Sometimes the big guy just changes everything. What did you do in an NBA free agency? We signed LeBron James. Oh, you got that guy. Sometimes Texas got that guy in this class. And I think we're so hypercritical of Texas around here that when they really kick it out of they just really knock it out of the park.
Oscar, thank you for that super chat. That cleans us off of super chats for now. So if you want to throw one in, please feel free. We will let you hear from AV Consultations, and then I'll see.
Like a 97, Chad, not 100. Like a 97.
Like a 97. Okay.
All right. I was going to give them like a 105, if not for the offensive line.
Okay.
They're going to get they got a 97, but they got like 8 bonus points on the bonus questions.
Gotcha. Fair enough. All right. We'll see if Ketch has any more dirty little whispers after this.
Hi, this is Tom McKay, owner of Audiovisual Consultations. We've been providing custom electronic systems for Central Texas for more than 36 years. And
old man, I think they all know who you are and what your company does. This is Camilla McKay. The old man believes in big fun and big ideas. He can make dreams come true, so why not dream big? I've been up in Boston, but I know the old man and all his friends and fellow radio heads have been spreading the holiday spirit here in Texas. Why should we stop there? Keep spreading the good feelings all over. Audiovisual Consultations carries all major brands of televisions and stereo equipment at prices you can't find in stores. And you don't have to leave your house. Just like Santa, they deliver the gifts to you.
Yeah, I like that, kid. Throw a party, hang out with your friends, catch a concert.
That's all fun and good, but can we get back to the business? You can give us a call at 512-255-8678 or visit our website at avconsultations.com for some cool electronics.
Oh, now you're forgetting something.
And as always, hug your kids. We only pretend to be annoyed. Watch some games with your friends and make love to whoever the hell you want.
All right, I grabbed a couple chats I like, but no super chats right now. Ketch, do you have another?
Real quick, I had a random thought. I have to share it.
Okay.
You know what my favorite thing? 2 things about that AV consultation spot.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a movie that they're showing that has Harrison Ford on it with green hair?
Possibly. I had not focused in on the green-haired Harrison
Play
Ford.
it again.
Might be the
first like 15 seconds.
Oh, it's in the early part. Okay, all right, here we go.
Early part.
Early on, looking for Harrison Ford. Here we go.
Hi, this is Tom McKay, owner of Audiovisual Consultations. We've been providing custom electronic systems for Central Texas for more than 36 years. And
Old man, I think they all know who you are and what your company does. This is Camilla McKay. The old man believes in big fun and big ideas. He can make dreams come true, so why not dream big? I've been up in Boston, but I know the old man and all his friends and fellow radio heads have been spreading the holiday spirit here.
That is not the same ad.
I missed. It is the same ad. I didn't see it.
God, am I hallucinating?
I only have one. I swear there's only one loaded up, so it has to be that one.
Well, then later on in my hallucination, in addition to the Harrison Ford with green hair graphic,
Yeah.
I love that there's a still shot of them watching the movie Blue Streak.
That is nice. That's a good touch. I didn't notice that.
It's Martin Lawrence and Luke Wilson. Like, what? Who is watching Blue Streak on their big screen TV? I had somebody come up to me last week and they go, you know what? I like Tom McKay. I was like, oh, you know Tom? Tom and I go way back. You know why I like Tom? And with no explanation whatsoever, the guy goes, he's kind of a weird duck. I like that.
Yeah.
And then just now, I was like, is just Tom randomly watching Blue Streak 27 years after it was made? Like, when was Blue Streak been on TV?
Yes, when they install TVs in people's houses, they test them out with Blue Streak. Yes. That's what's going on. Absolutely.
It's not even the best Martin Lawrence movie from 1999.
No, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. You go.
They could be watching Life. Instead, they're watching Blue Streak. I'm sorry.
Go with Blue Streak. That's the one.
But I also may have hallucinated there because apparently there is no Harrison Ford green hair.
One person.
I've never seen Harrison Ford in a movie with green hair. So
one person in the chat says there is green hair, but it wasn't Harrison Ford. Somebody else said there was Harrison Ford 10 seconds in. So who knows? I'll double check for you before the next show, before tomorrow's show. I'll do the research like I did on the history of specs. Okay. Got a couple chats. We can get to those. Do you have another dirty little whisper for the people, or do you want to buy or sell? What do you want to do?
I mean, how dirty do you want to get?
Well, we've met.
I mean, right? We always have dirty. Give me something. What do you want a dirty whisper about?
Well, you were the one.
You say something, I'll give you a dirty whisper. The thing is, I got so many dirty whispers. How do I organize my dirty whispers?
You structured this thing around, rumors and whispers and all that stuff. How about this? Anything about, dirty whispers about like an offensive lineman for 2026 that will get people's attention?
Not yet.
Okay.
We're still pretty into, I think one of the weird things about the offseason is that sometimes they'll talk about the offseason as if it's over when spring football starts, right? Because then it's at least like the official offseason. I know that there's still summer offseasoning and all of these things, but they're right in the middle of whatever the offseason is before they get to spring football. It's crazy how much has to get done in a really short amount of time. I haven't really been hearing names, but I think that's good. It would feel fake if on February 5th, somebody was like, hey man, I don't know if you know this, but Andre Kojo looks like $1 million. I think he might start. Like if we start hearing these types of things and then you go, wait a minute, what? Why would we say that before pads? Like the moment we start hearing things and pads haven't come on and it just sounds like there's a narrative being built. And if you guys hear me say some of it, like stop me in my tracks and go, catch. That's bullshit. It is. It is. We are a few weeks into off-season training. I think the thing you'd look out for in general are the freshmen that are coming in already catching eyes. And even that's kind of quiet right now. That's how I think recent. We're still into this, just a few weeks. But no, not on the offensive line side yet. I think here's what I think would be, here's perfect. This is what Texas football fans need to be looking for. Spring games on the 18th, right?
Wait, they set a date and everything?
I think so.
Nice. That'd be April 18th?
I think so.
Okay.
I mean, again, I might have seen that on the green Harrison Ford haircut with blue streaks, so I might be 3 decades behind.
Fair enough.
I thought that was a date that flashed up, but
Okay.
so presumably that practice would start about a month before that, spring break. I bet they'll come back after spring break and start. It doesn't make a lot of sense based on when the spring game is. I don't know. Sometimes they've done this where you start spring football and then you take spring break and then you come back and whatever.
Right.
I think when we get to the last week of March, what you want to hear as a Texas football fan is that Jalen Chapman has been playing left tackle for the first team while Trevor Goosby is out recovering from this shoulder thing, and that he looks like a guy that's going to be a factor when the fall comes around. Not he's competing for a starting spot. He's the best looking guy out there. Nothing crazy.
Depth.
Is what your needs are truly modest. So let's just focus on the need being fixed, which is, can you develop another guy that truly belongs in the mix of starting conversation? Because that gives you depth. And I think he's the guy that most and maybe soonest, and look, he's going to get all of those reps with the ones. He's the left tackle in the spring. Whether or not he's ready or not, we don't know yet. But he's getting ready to go into year number 4. They have showed a lot of confidence in him, I think, in the last couple of years as a potential piece. To me, he's the one guy. We get to the end of March. Are there positive talking points about that guy the way there might have been about Trevor Goosby a couple of years ago? Not that the upside is optimally the same, but you'll remember Goosby didn't even play 2 years ago. But we were still hearing people say behind the scenes, that guy's pretty good. Well, Jaden Chapman almost certainly does not have a starting offensive line position to take this year. If Goosby is healthy, he's the left tackle. Melvin Siani is going to be the right tackle. I don't know there's a huge pathway for Chapman, but I'd love, certainly by the time we get into the season, where it's like, oh, well, because we did it with Kelvin Banks. When Kelvin Banks got hurt, we all felt like Trevor Goosby can hold that down for a game or two. It'll be okay. And it turned out it was better than that. He was really, really good. If you can get to a point where someone gets hurt and you're not having to break the glass and pull Nick Brooks out of nowhere to put him on the field because you've got a guy like Chapman, that's the one I'm watching. It's the only one in a lot of ways that makes sense for me. He's going into year 4. This is when the light switch should come on. It really should. Like, this is when it would have come on for a guy like Christian Jones. This is when it came on for a guy like Lyle Sinline and Casey Studdard. We all kind of forget what those timelines look like. Some of the great offensive linemen in the history of the program, sometimes they were forced on the field early. Sometimes they were kind of mid early on. But by the time those guys hit their 4th and 5th seasons, they turned into plus players. They turned into the guys that we remember them for. And isn't that what Christian Jones eventually became? Now he's the guy that was good enough early on in the SEC experience that when he left, you wish he still had another year, as opposed to in the beginning, why is that guy on the field? He sucks. Why would we ever play Christian Jones? I know it's a long answer, but I'm pretty passionate about this. I think he's the guy, and I just think we need to know what to look for when it happens.
All right. Get another Dirty Whisper question off of a chat coming up. We will get that. If you want to throw in a super chat, go right ahead. Also, if you want to talk a little bit of drinking, let's do a little bit of it. You want to go drinking for Valentine's Day or just enjoy some of the beautiful February weather? Head out to the Deep Eddy Vodka tasting room. You can go indoor seating like right there. They have great outdoor seating. They have all kinds of great flavors. They've got the great barbecue on site as well at the Crimson Creek Smokehouse. And you see the Saturday and Sunday hours there, 11 to 7 Saturdays and Sunday, 12 to 5, if you want to get out there for a little bit of drinking. Might be a good Valentine's idea. Also a great Valentine's Day idea, wine. If you need wine, you know where we're going to send you, to Specs.
Do you love wine? There couldn't be a better time, because the savings during Specs' huge wine sale will make your heart race. These wines will have a big discount, but you're absolutely priceless. With hundreds of wines on sale, Specs is turning these aisles into the ultimate love story.
Uncork something special during Specs' huge wine sale, going on now. Specs, the fun starts here.
There you go. Wine sale till the end of the month. Catch this chat stood out to me, and it gets me to kind of another question. Mark says, I think Coach Boom will provide a little insight on Georgia and hope to clear that hurdle soon. Any dirty little whispers about Muschamp? Like, if I'm a Longhorn fan, I'm just kind of energized by it. I'm excited. I know we haven't gotten to spring football, and I guess technically we haven't even gotten to the workouts yet. I guess that's getting started, but you hearing anything about like the Muschamp effect of being back?
No.
Okay.
But again, that just feels like, I mean, I could lie. Oh, guys, it's night and day.
No, it's not
Night and day. The
not.
Workouts, it's like Dick Tomey showed up. It's 6 a.m. He's waking guys up. He's telling them every day, and he's whispering in their ears, if you fucking jump off sides one time in a game this year, I'll fucking have your balls on a platter. Like, it's crazy. It's like watching the making of Patton behind the scenes. Muschamp is completely revolutionizing Texas football. Natty, Chad. Natty.
Damn, you thought Blue Streak was an old movie reference. He just went back to Patton. That's a long time.
I love Patton.
It's a decent film. Decent film, in case you need to see one.
People think I'm too woke to enjoy John Wayne. No, I just think I like good movies. Patton's a good movie.
Patton's a hell of a movie. That's a hell. I remember I can't remember what it was. I guess it was a history class where I was like, I had to watch Patton in school, and that's a hell of a movie. Hell of a movie. There's no doubt.
When I was at McCallum, can I tell you that three of the movies off the top of my head that I remember watching at McCallum? Silence of the Lambs in Driver's Ed.
Whoa. That's the weirdest connection I've ever heard of. What? Driver's Ed?
Hey, man, Coach Caldwell would play anything if you gave him a VHS tape. I'm convinced.
That's incredible. Okay. All right.
Then
use your signals,
Do the Right Thing with a substitute, and then we read the movie script in class. Damn. Guess who I got to be?
The
Sweet Dick Willie. I was Sweet Dick Willie in class. We did that. That was fun. That was freshman year.
There's a lot going on at McCallum. They're really now I'm understanding why you didn't get over to Dart Bowl for the enchiladas. You had a lot going on at school.
I told this story to my son the other day. I was trying to explain the importance of getting into honors classes. And I said, son, here's the thing, man. When you're in regular classes, you get all the riffraff. My third day in high school at McCallum, I had a gun pulled on me out like in my face at the McDonald's over on Lamar. And I told my son Hendrix, I was like, the very next semester, like not my first semester my freshman year, but the second semester, the guy that pulled a gun on me sat next to me in chemistry class. And do you know what he did in chemistry class? I was telling Hendrix he would take these rocks and throw them at people, right? He's throwing rocks at kids in class. And I was like, Hendrix, do you know what doesn't happen in honors classes?
Rock throwing.
You don't get hit in the head with rocks. Dudes that pulled pistols on you don't show up in class and sit next to you and disrupt the class.
Nope.
I think I talked Hendrix into taking an honors class.
That's some good parenting. Good parenting on your part. I think you did a really good job.
I had a gun pulled on me, and then that guy sat next to me for an entire semester in school. I think that sunk in.
Yeah, Catch, I will still do the work for you, but the consensus is that it is bad lighting, not actual green hair. But again, I'll double check that for you on the AV.
Okay.
Yeah, that is the consensus right now.
At least it's not like Catch smoked too much crack this morning.
Yeah. So we'll double check. We'll double check that one at some point. All right, Catch. Do you want to buy or sell? Do you have more whispers for the people? What do you think?
What we should have done is just open it up and let people ask for their whispers. And then I can just shoot them all down by telling them, nope, not hearing whispers about that. It's still too soon, man. Like,
Yeah, I got you. I mean, you got to let those workouts really get started. Spring football gets started. I understand. I totally get it. By the way,
I think all the whispers were really portal-wise related. You know, this time last week we were just rolling around to the Seymour commitment.
right.
And it was the urgency of when is it going to happen? When is it going to happen? When is it going to happen? Dominated. Now that's over with to a certain extent. And so now it's like, we need a different dopamine hit. And I get why that's a dopamine hit. And I wish I had more of them for you. Play by yourself.
By the way, yeah, we'll buy or sell here real quick just to clean this up from the thievery. Cancel any P4 teams in out of conference. Bring on Sam Houston State, UTEP, and ULL. Remember, you can do 2 of the 3. You do have to play 1 Power 4. You just probably need to be a little more selective maybe than what Texas has been. Can't do all 3 of those. You can do 2 of those 3, but you can't do all 3.
I don't believe any of the last 3 national champions from the Big Ten have played a Power 4 team in the non-conference.
Well, obviously Ohio State would have, right?
Not the year they won the national championship.
Oh, you're right. So that's right. Michigan played them the year after Oklahoma and Ohio State. Yeah, because it was back-to-back defending champs.
All 3 of those teams played cream puffs.
I think you're right. Yeah.
And then you know what's interesting about that? Because one of the cases that's made is, well, if you play that game in September and you win it, it will prepare you for the games in December. Well, you know what? Those teams didn't play anybody tough early in the season. And in the case of Michigan, Ohio State, and Indiana, they pistol whipped every son of a bitch that got in front of them on their way to a national championship. Not playing anybody in September did not mean they couldn't slap the taste out of anybody's mouth they wanted to when it mattered at the end of the season. Just some food for thought for those of you that think there's so much to gain by winning that game, because the last 3 teams to hoist the national championship hustled a different way.
The question I would have for CDC Catch, and I don't know if he got to this last night, is what are his big dog season ticket holders telling him? Because we know why he scheduled these games.
I don't think he said that.
Yeah, we know why he scheduled this game at one point. What are those men and women telling him now? Because clearly I know why he scheduled Ohio State home and home. Are they legitimately walking up to him right now and going, hey, CDC, 9-game schedule. We got enough SEC folks coming in. Let's chill out on that non-con stuff. Like, is that what they're telling him?
I feel vindicated.
See? There you go. Could be Air Force One. Good movie, by the way. Could be Air Force One.
I was just, it's just one of those things. It's like, wait a minute. Is that punk rocker? Harrison? What movie did Harrison Ford have green hair?
And hey, there's a lot going on in those AV consultation spots because there's multiple screens sometimes. You're trying to follow all the stuff. I get it.
So once I saw green-haired Harrison Ford in the blink of an eye, and I am glad that I correctly identified Harrison Ford as opposed to, I don't know, seeing anybody else and being like, was that Harrison Ford? I was like, no, dude, that was Nicolas Cage. What are you doing?
So
the other thing is, it's what notice Harrison Ford is what allowed me to notice Blue Streak later in the commercial, because you got Martin Lawrence sitting there with Luke Wilson in the car. And I was like, wait a minute, there's only one movie where those 2 guys are sitting in a car together.
That's it.
And that's the 1999 cop buddy classic Blue Streak with Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle's in that movie.
Oh, that's right. I forgot Chappelle was in that one. All right, Catch, you want to buy or sell, or what are we doing?
Let's do buy or sell. Let's get out of Dodge. You know what I'm doing today?
I don't
have a Hay City store to go to for lunch.
Okay.
The new Pluckers.
Oh, very nice. Very, very nice. And while you're at Pluckers, you'll look around and see like AV consultation stuff that gets set up. Yeah. All right.
Blue Streak may be on.
First or second today?
I'll go second today.
All right. Buy or sell number 1. You don't agree with CDC on on non-conference schedules, but you understand. Buy or sell?
I'm gonna do what's written on the marquee there, and you say I don't agree with CDC on no con schedules. I'm a big believer in the con schedule. Con away. Indiana conned. Ohio State conned. I am anti no con. No con, that's way too much bravado for me. We're not about the no con.
How about now?
You don't agree with CDC. Well, now I don't agree. Now you're confusing me. The order of the words and everything.
Okay. Well, I made it non-con just in case that was freaking you out.
It says no con.
Oh, well, I edited it, but I guess
You may have edited it, but on the screen it still says no con.
Okay, fair enough. All right, that one failed. Let's go to the second one. Buy or sell number 2, catch. James Harden has a new home in the NBA. You can tell me where. Buy or sell.
Buy. They played each other last night, right? It was the Clippers, and who did they play? Where did they get traded to?
You are correct that they played last night.
Oh my God, I won. Oh, Chad disappeared again. I won $30 on Prize Picks. Let me just look. Who did I bet? I wagered on the game. And because I wagered on the game, that should allow me the agency and not the grief, but maybe you'll give me some of that as well. I don't remember who to get traded to.
Cleveland.
It was Cleveland.
Yep.
I was going to say that, but it just sounded weird. Like, no, he didn't get traded to Cleveland. He did get traded to Cleveland, yes.
Yeah, he did. All right, catch. Buy or sell number 3. You agree with CDC that championship games should go away in college football. Buy or sell.
Sell. They seem less problematic right now than the non-conference games. How about starting with the most problematic thing, CDC, and we'll work our way backwards from there.
Gotcha. All right.
You know what that is? That's a little bit like, hey, you know what my biggest piece of agenda is new police chief. Stopping murders. But you know what I'm going to do on day 1 before we do anything else? Jaywalking. Can't clean up the murders unless we do the jaywalking first. No. How about we'll handle the conference championship games after we figure out what to do with our false bravado from September?
Quick call to Notre Dame might be coming. All right, catch. Back to the NBA. Buy or sell number 4. Kristaps Porzingis got traded. You can tell me either team. His old home or his new home.
I mean, I got like a 1 in 15 chance if I just blindly guess at it. And I know it wasn't the Sixers, so it's more like 1 in 14 now.
There you go. It was not the Sixers. I'll tell you, it's neither team are my Mavericks. It's not.
I know that.
Them.
I know that. I know where he plays. I don't know where he got traded, but I can't remember now. Like I can't remember.
You can tell me the old team, and you're good.
The Knicks.
No, that's not where he was. Team. That's not where he was. I'm saying.
But you said you could tell me the old team, and that is the oldest team.
No. I said you can tell me either team, buy or sell, either his old team or his new team.
His old team is actually something else, isn't it?
I'm saying the team he was traded from and the team he was traded to.
I don't care. Just tell me.
Fair enough. He's a Warrior now with Steph.
Oh, he was in the Kuminga trade.
That is correct. The Kuminga, yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. He was in that trade, and he was in Atlanta. And finally, catch a big happy birthday.
I know he was in Atlanta.
Big happy birthday.
You could have put A, Atlanta, B, Atlanta, C, Atlanta, D, none of the above, and I would have said D.
Big happy birthday to Roger the Dodger. Roger Staubach is 84 today. Catch, getting to meet him and sit in his box for a Cowboy game is one of your top 5 live sports moments ever. Buy or sell?
Man, out of principle, it has to be in a buy. It's hard to weigh and measure the delight and glee of all your favorite moments and then rank them against each other. There's something about the absolute surrealness of sitting in Roger Staubach's box and having him serve me a plate of hot dogs. You just don't know what you're going to do in your life the moment that Roger Staubach is handing you hot dogs and then asking you, is there anything else that he can do for you?
Oh my God.
While you sit invited, we didn't sneak in, invited into his box for a Monday night game against the Eagles, which, to be fair, the Cowboys won. It was a great night.
Yeah. You know how sometimes, Catch, you have friends or family members that you get tired of hearing their stories. It's like, oh God, here's Uncle Joe going here again. I think this is one you don't tell enough. I really do. I don't think you lean into the Roger Staubach. I'd work it into every conversation I could if I were you, because I'm a Cowboys fan as well. And it makes me jealous when I even think about it. I remember it because we were doing radio when it happened. And I'm like, that is the coolest thing I'd ever heard. Anytime you start talking about it, I'm like, yes.
My
Roger
cousin
Staubach?
John flew in from Philadelphia. Who's my Cowboys loving cousin who lives in Philly, flew in for the game. How could I ever look cooler?
There's no way. Right. No chance.
Hey, man, I got us into Staubach's box. And it was so weird to just constantly be turning around and seeing Roger Staubach over your shoulder. Yeah. It was just a lot to I'd have spent half the game just sneaking looks over at him to remind myself it's Roger Staubach. Like, hey, Chad, who won the game? I don't know, but I can tell you what Roger Staubach's profile looks like. It had to have been like what Tom Cruise felt like in the movie where he's with Nicole Kidman, and he goes to like the sex party and you're just walking around.
Eyes Wide Shut, yeah.
Yeah, he's like when the character's in Eyes Wide Shut and you're there, it's just a lot to process all at once.
Yeah,
like,
that's a lot.
Tell us about it. And you're like,
yeah.
Well, Staubach was there.
That's so good.
And he handed me hot dogs. And I just didn't know what to say ever. Never. There was never a point when I had a conversation with Roger Staubach where I felt worthy to have a conversation with Roger Staubach. So you just end up tongue-tied, like you're talking like you're Chevy Chase in the Vacation movies when Christy Brinkley drives by. You just don't know how to act right.
Yeah. Happy birthday to Roger today. All right, Catch, what do you got? That's my buy or sell.
Buy or sell, number one. Last night I set a Prize Picks $10 wager on Kawhi Leonard to get more than 16.5 points against the Cavs.
Yes.
And then I took the under on Wembanyama on 22.5 points against Oklahoma City because he had played 3 times earlier this season and he hit below the mark all 3 times. I forgot about it.
Mm-hmm.
I woke up at like 10 o'clock this morning. I was like, oh, I set that Prize Picks wager last night.
Mm-hmm.
I need to go see how that turned out. Won $30.
Nice.
Wembanyama finishes with 22 and the number was 22.5. Isn't that the way I have to do it from now on? Buy or sell?
That is bold. And yeah, buy, I guess. Okay, go with it. Hey, ride it until it fails.
From now on, I cannot. That's the way I have to go until it stops working because I woke up today and I won 3 times my money.
Good for you. Those are tough to sweat out when you go under, but go less. But it's probably good that you got away from it and then went back later and looked. That's a good move.
I did.
Good move.
Took the under, took the less.
Yeah.
It would be easy to want to take the more.
Last football season, I did 2 of those at the same time with running backs on less. It was either less yards, I think, and they both hit, but it was agonizing to get to the end. It was crazy.
Buy or sell number 2, you have a very definite vested vote fan interest in the Super Bowl.
Oh, hell yeah. Buy. Seahawks all the way. I don't want the Patriots to win number 7, and I'm married to a Steelers fan who would agree with me on that. And I can deal with Seattle's fine. I have no problem rooting for Seattle. I want the Sam Darnold thing to finish. I like Walker. I like Smith and Jigba. They just have a bunch of likable dudes for me. Even the new coach and everything. So yes, I'm Seahawks all the way in this one.
Buy or sell number 3. If forced to choose in a dungeon, you're held hostage.
Yes.
You're in a dungeon. You have to do one of 2 things.
Okay.
Or they're going to murder you.
All right.
Crack or heroin? You would choose crack because of the movie New Jack City. Doesn't crack cocaine have a better movie rep than heroin? I don't feel like heroin sounds fun.
Yeah, because the only heroin movie I can think of is Train Spotting, and by the end of that movie, I just want to be miles away. So I'm gonna have to buy.
I feel like Ellis and Die Hard probably smoked crack rock once in his life.
I'm gonna have to buy, and it may be a little bit of the movies, and then also just
I think Ellis from Die Hard might have invented smoking crack.
I think you might be right. Yeah.
In addition to all of the lines that he would have taken to convince himself that he needed to go negotiate in that Christmas party.
Yeah. There's a lot of rock and rollers that would tell me I'm making the wrong decision. What
would Ozzy say?
Like Ozzy and Nikki Sixx and some of those guys with the entire band of Motley Crue might tell me, hey, you might be choosing wrong there. But yeah, I'll go that way.
Just do the crack. I don't want the needles.
Exactly. That's the other reason for me. Yes. Just that much. But
I mean, I guess the tie goes to whatever. I don't have to have needles.
No needles. Exactly. I don't want to have to do the fix up with the thing. And then I'm not good. I can do a shot every once in a while, but I don't want to do that.
Smoking crack almost sounds romantic compared to the idea of like whatever it is they do with the thing and you tighten it up to try to. I don't want to do any of that.
It just feels a little. Yeah. It just feels like it's a little bit easier.
By the way, I kind of get the feel like everybody can watch this show and know what you and I haven't done based on the way we're describing
all of it. Yeah. All of it. That's what we haven't done.
Buy or sell number 4, Kill Bill. Best revenge movie or your favorite revenge movie?
Kill Bill.
I just got finished watching The Searchers with John Wayne. It's a revenge movie.
Right. I guess without, going through the long list, it is a great, I'll buy. I'm a big fan of both Kill Bill movies. They are masterpieces in what they do, and they are so drastically different in one key area. No spoilers, but if you've never seen them, do yourself a favor. Sit through both of them and you'll know what I'm talking about, because there's something about Kill Bill Volume 1 that is very much not a part of Kill Bill Volume 2, but they're both just genius movies.
Which do you prefer? They are completely different movies. Do you, push comes to shove, want to watch one more so than the other?
If I had to choose, I think I'm a Kill Bill 2 guy.
Interesting.
I've never been asked that question before. I think I'm a Kill Bill Volume 2 guy if you make me pick, because it's, let's just say, more psychological than the first one. Let's just do that. Yes, that's the one.
I'm going to differ from you. I'm going to go Kill Bill Volume 1.
They're both.
But my reasons are real simple, okay? Number 1, well, the highlight of the entire Volume 1 and 2 to me is the scene, the battle scenes with Lucy Liu.
They're great.
That whole stretch where she shows up at that restaurant all the way until Lucy Liu's death. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler.
Just so you know, like, it wouldn't be a Volume 2 if the hero didn't make it out of Volume 1.
Yeah.
But I also think the Vivica A. Fox fight is like low-key such a great movie scene with the daughter coming home and, with her putting the groceries away, but then shooting through the box. Like, there's just a lot that's going on in those scenes that the second one doesn't have. Plus, there is her revenge on the guy in the hospital room with his car.
Mm-hmm.
And there's something about that guy getting his head crushed in that I'm a fan of.
Yeah. In terms of watching over and over and over, you might have taught me towards that one, because there is a scene in Volume 2 that I think is a brilliant scene, but I hate watching it because it is self-contained, a little too much for me. So maybe I'll change it. You talked me into number 1.
You're not wrong about what it is. I think 1's just like a more fun free-for-all of like wild stuff. Whereas the second one is like, we're at the conclusion of the story.
Yeah.
And the last couple of chapters, I don't think quite hit like the crazy 88s or whatever they called that group. Like, that whole thing was just
it's
fantastic.
Fair. It's fair. There's an argument for 1. I'm still a sicko, and I think I'm still going part 2, but there's an argument.
Lucy Liu hits her with the like silly rabbit tricks her for kids line. Like, there's just, it was QT at his best. And finally, buy or sell, number 5, you're rooting for Seattle and you think Sam Darnold emerges on Sunday as Super Bowl MVP. of the world champion Seattle Seahawks?
It is the most obvious way to go. I'm leaning towards an old school move. I'm leaning towards the running back. I'm saying it's Walker.
What about Byron Murphy catching a touchdown pass?
And
he has a sack and a forced fumble in the game,
I would
and
love to see
he's
that.
Super Bowl MVP.
I think Shaheed has a chance if he combines for some stuff in that game. Smith and Jigba, if he goes monster, could. A lot of people think Cooper Kupp could. I still need to look it up. Has a receiver ever gone multiple MVPs in a Super Bowl? I'm not sure. I can't think of one off the top of my head. A lot of guys have done it, big names, but not twice. But I'm going to go with Walker. I'm going to say we're going to get an old school running back MVP, and Kenneth Walker wins it.
What's the best for you wide receiver performance in a Super Bowl?
Best wide receiver performance in a Super Bowl.
Just out of curiosity. I had two that popped into my head.
I mean, I'll go old school, and even though one of my teams had to eat it, it's probably Lynn Swann. There's like Lynn Swann in Miami came up with 2 catches that are so good, I can't ignore it. Though just the 2 catches in Super Bowl 10, I think is worthy of the best receiving performance I've ever seen. So I'm gonna go with Lynn Swann.
It's funny that you should say that, because the 2 things that popped into I can't believe I didn't think of Lynn Swann.
Yeah, I just think of those 2 catches, the one on the sideline and the one out in the middle when he's falling on his face. If he doesn't catch either of those balls,
he goes for 4 for 161 that day.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's an incredible performance. The 2 that popped into my head, he's not my number 1, and I don't know if he's my number 2, but you know what? I'll go ahead and put Lynn Swann above Larry Fitzgerald in the Super Bowl against the Steelers.
It was a hell of a performance. I mean,
it was incredible, but you know what? I'll give Lynn, but the one I can't get, Jerry Rice against the Bengals.
That was a hell of a day too. Yep.
Jerry Rice against the Bengals. It's not that he had
he got MVP for that, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But he took that game over. And it's ironic that John Taylor ends up getting the game-winning touchdown, but Jerry Rice was the difference between those 2 teams. And in the fourth quarter, it was just like, there's never been an example of just get that guy the ball and everybody else get out of the way. It's the signature Jerry Rice. If it's not that, then it's the Super Bowl the very next year where I think he would have had 3 touchdowns against the Broncos. Jerry Rice was good.
This just in. Yes, Jerry Rice was awesome. Before we get out of here, we will give some love to Texas Card House. Remember, they've got online poker for you at hijackpoker.com. All you got to do is be in Texas. That's it. Just be in the great state of Texas. Put that code on any device you want and get to playing. Also, if you got time, go ahead and stop by one of those 6 Texas Card House locations all over the state. 1 month of free club membership and 2 hours of free poker play when you mention Orange Bloods at check-in. And if you want to head over to 183 and Anderson Mill and check out TCH Social Austin, I bet you they'll have the Super Bowl on one of those screens at least on Sunday. Maybe go check it out. 183 and Anderson Mill. Order the Bad Beat Bacon. You will not be disappointed. Catch, you ready to close up?
Yeah, I just realized what time it is. I'm late on something, so I got to go.
All right. Thank you all for liking, subscribing, and getting your notifications. We'll be back tomorrow for a Friday show on Orange Bloods Live.